Let's talk about the history of Squid Game. Did you know that the games in Squid Game are all based on real Korean children's games? And I don't mean like tag or hide and seek. I mean these are games that were played in Korea back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they sound really fun. I had to look up some of them because I didn't even know they existed. The show is obviously inspired by the extreme competition in Korea and the massive wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots. But at its heart, it's also a commentary on capitalism, how those who have money will take advantage of those who are desperate for money. And what's more ironic is how the rich to VIPs in the show use the working class to make their own lives more entertaining. It's almost like a form of entertainment for them. That reminds me of this Netflix original movie called The Platform from 2019. I highly recommend watching it. The movie has a similar premise as Squid Game. The series is written and directed by Hwang Dong-hyuk. He wanted to write a story about social hierarchy, and he started to jot down some notes in 2008. But it took him 13 years to actually produce the series. It wasn't until the global pandemic began in 2020 that he was able to focus on writing the screenplay full-time. It premiered on Netflix in September 2021. It immediately became the most popular series in the world. At one point, there were over 142 million accounts watching it. The hype around the series went insane. There were so many fan creations on YouTube and Instagram. Everyone was talking about it. They even released a plushie doll of the robot. Look at this thing. It looks creepy. But the coolest thing was when they released this track. The song is called The Squid Game. It's a remix of the main theme song, and it blends EDM and orchestra. It's awesome. Now, let's talk about the show itself. If you haven't watched it yet, I'm gonna warn you. There's some serious spoilers ahead. So stop right here if you don't want it ruined. The players have to match up shapes on their forearms to the shapes shown on a screen. If they miss, a robotic arm will hit them. In round 3, they have to hop across a series of stepping stones. If they fall into the water below, they're out. He could have easily walked away with 3.8 million, but instead, he chose to play the game. The show is called Squid Game. After all, the game is supposed to be a competition. There can only be one winner. Plus, I think the ending makes a statement about human nature. People are selfish. They're willing to do anything to survive, even betray their closest friends. Gae-hoon could have ended up being a billionaire, but instead he got shot. Sure, he could have been killed, but that would have meant that his friend Ali would have gotten the money instead. So, I think it shows a lot of courage. Yeah, the main character is portrayed as a hero, even though he's a gambler. But let's be honest, that's what makes it exciting. People would never play these games for money, they would just kill each other before that. But I disagree. These people are desperate. They have no other options. They're willing to risk it all for a chance at a better life. If it was a wholesome show about making friends, nobody would watch it. The violence is what draws in the viewers. But here's the thing. I don't think the show is trying to glorify gambling. Gambling is just part of his backstory. It's never really mentioned again. I think the show is more about the games than anything else. He's been auditioning for lead roles for decades, but he kept getting rejected. He was starting to think that his luck had finally run out. But then the casting director saw him at an audition and told him that he was perfect for the role. Also, think about it this way. If Gi-hoon didn't try to win the whole thing, he wouldn't have become the hero of the series. All the other players would have remembered him as the guy who quit halfway. He would have lost his chance at redemption. In the first game, red light, green light, the robots represent the harsh realities of the world. If the light turns red, you're out. There's no second chances. The second game is called Tug of War. It's a symbol of class warfare. The workers have to pull on a rope to raise the platform. If they fail, they fall to their death. This game reflects the struggles of the working class. They're constantly fighting to stay afloat. The third game is called Marbles. It represents the importance of friendship. The main character is able to win by trusting his teammates. The fourth game is called Umbrella. It's a symbol of betrayal. The main character is betrayed by someone he trusts. And the fifth game is called Squid Game. It's a symbol of greed. The main character is forced to fight to the death for money. And in round 4, they have to pass marbles to each other while spinning around in a circle. If a player drops a marble, they're eliminated. In round 5, they have to stack up blocks on top of each other. The VIPs, on the other hand, wear tracksuits with the numbers 00012067. Those are the same numbers used in the games. The colors also have meaning. The main character wears a blue tracksuit. Blue symbolizes hard work and struggle. Meanwhile, the VIPs wear pink. Pink symbolizes wealth and privilege. There's also a scene where the main character takes off his shoes. It's a metaphor for shedding his old life. They have to reach the top of the tower to move on. But before I reveal what happens in the final round, let's talk about the drama within the group. For those of you who have no idea what Squid Game is, I'll give you a quick summary. The show follows a man named Gi-hoon. As the stakes get higher, the players begin to turn on each other. We have two characters named Abdul Ali and Jang Doksan. They're good friends, but Doksan begins to resent Ali. When Ali wins a game, Doksan gets eliminated. Ali doesn't realize it at first, but eventually he does. He apologizes and gives his winnings to Doksan's family. And wow! The scene where he gives the money to the young girl just breaks your heart. He tells her to use the money to buy her mother medicine. That was really sad. He's a divorced cab driver with massive gambling debts. He's an old man, but he seems pretty sharp. They're tied together with a rope, and they're suspended in mid-air. Whoever lets go first loses. Now, before the game starts, they give the players an option. They can cut the rope and both walk away with 3.8 million won. But that would mean splitting the prize. So, do they cut the rope? No, they don't. They decide to play the game. And in the end, Gi-hoon ends up winning. He cuts the rope and he walks away with all the money. Later on, we find out that he's actually the mastermind behind the games. The games are his way of escaping reality. I won't spoil why he created the game, but it's actually pretty heartbreaking. And then there's the main character, Seong Ji-hoon. He's initially motivated by money. He wants to get his life together for his daughter. But as the show goes on, he becomes more selfless. He risks his own safety to save the other players. His daughter doesn't even recognize him anymore. One day he gets approached by a mysterious man in a suit and he is invited to play a game. The game is called Red Light, Green Light. He meets up with 3 other men. Together they make up the team called Squid Game. Their goal is to navigate through 6 rounds of games. In round 2, they're tasked with playing a game called Daki. The series isn't just about the games. It's also about the relationships. We also have another character named Oh Il-nam. Now let's talk about the final round. In round 6, the 2 remaining players have to fight to the death. It's called tug of war. Here's the thing. I feel like Gi-hoon made the right choice. I know the ending was a little controversial. Some people were hoping that both players would walk away with the money, but honestly, that probably wouldn't have happened. By the way, the actor who played him was almost not cast. Another thing I want to mention is the symbolism. The main character wears a tracksuit with the number 456 on it. The number represents poverty. As for the games themselves, they're all symbolic as well. If you want to learn more about the meaning behind each game, there's a great video analysis online. Alright, so now let's talk about some of the criticisms of the show. The biggest complaint is that it glorifies gambling. Another criticism is that it's too violent. Well, yeah, it is. There are lots of blood and guts. And finally, there's the argument that it's unrealistic. Alright, that's it. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.